Did you know that even the most famous people make mistakes in movies and TV shows? Well, they're human just like us at the end of the day, so obviously they've made their own mistakes on the way. However, some mistakes are pretty funny once you've noticed them one time, but if they've managed to stay in the movie and/or show, then they can't be that bad. Let's have a look at some of the most famous mistakes in movies and TV shows. First, the coffee cup in Game of Thrones. Yes, you heard that right. There was a coffee cup in Game of Thrones. Did you notice it? Well, the internet pretty much lost everything over the Starbucks cup that was spotted during the last season of the show. However, the showrunners joke about it now and you can't blame them. If you don't laugh, you'll cry, right? Well, David Beinhoff had this to say about it. At first, I couldn't believe it, and then it was an embarrassment because how did we not see this coffee cup in the middle of the shot? Luckily, they all found it funny afterwards because you can't lose sleep over a mistake like that. I wonder who did it. Who do they think? It must have been someone in the scene. What if it was Kit Harington? Harington, was it you? Just own up, it's okay. Next, the water bottle in Game of Thrones. Yes, the coffee cup wasn't enough for this cast. They even had a water bottle appear in the show as well. It was a plastic water bottle that can be seen near Samwell Tarly's foot in the final episode. What a way to end off the show, am I right? Then, another one appears near Sir Davos's foot. So there was a coffee cup and 2 water bottles in the final season. They really wanted to make sure we were paying attention. However, who kept leaving their drinks everywhere? What if it was one of the directors? If you have any ideas on who it was, then let us know down below. Next, the stormtrooper hitting his head. Now we're heading to Star Wars, one of the biggest franchises ever with amazing cinematography, acting, and music. So, are we surprised that even they had a mistake at one point? Well, I'm not, because no one's perfect. If you watch Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, you will see a group of stormtroopers making their way into the control room, and one of them ends up banging their head on the door. I laughed when I saw that because it is one crazy thing to see, and for some reason, I think the stormtroopers can be very comical at times. The actor, Laurie Good, had this to say about the incident. Believing I probably wasn't in the frame, I expected it to end up on the cutting room floor, but when I did see it in the cinema, I thought, OMG, that's me. I've been telling people the story ever since it occurred. We're not surprised you've been telling everyone that story. It sounds absolutely wild, and now you will always be known as the stormtrooper who hit their head on the doorframe. Good job, Laurie Good. But did you get in trouble when it happened? I just want to know. Now, the bullet holes in Pulp Fiction. This is where you know that this scene was practiced before, and it needed to be redone. In the scene where Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta went to the apartment to grab a briefcase, you can see the bullet holes in the walls before the shooting actually happened. So, we know that this scene must have happened already and they wanted to reshoot it. However, shouldn't they have fixed those holes in the background first? I know it would have been some extra work, but it would have been worth it, right? No? Well, I think it would have been worth it. What do you think? Next, the switched breakfast food in Pretty Women. I think it's funny when props get switched out halfway through a take because it ends up making me do a double take at the screen. If you've seen Pretty Women, then you'll be able to see the scene where Julia Roberts' character is eating a breakfast croissant one morning, completely normal, totally fine. However, the camera ends up panning to her co-star Richard Gere for a second. Guess what happens when it goes back to Julia Roberts? The croissant is gone and a pancake has appeared. A pancake? Excuse me? How did that happen? I have no clue, but when it did happen, I was definitely confused. Did you notice it before? Go check it out if you don't believe me. I wonder if they did that on purpose to see if we would catch it or if they had to just make a mistake. You never really know. Keep watching because we have some more funny mistakes coming up for you. Now we have the picture of Maggie in The Simpsons. If you've seen the show The Simpsons, then you know that it doesn't just tell you the future, but it's also just a great show. You would think, however, that there wouldn't be any mistakes in a cartoon, but there was. In the episode, And Maggie Makes 3, you can see Marge telling Homer that she's pregnant with Maggie. However, look behind her and you'll see a picture of Maggie already on the wall. Oops, that's a bit of a mistake there. I wonder how the artist missed that. What if they did it on purpose? What do you think? Was it a mistake or was it on purpose? Next, the mention of octopus in The Goonies. If you've ever seen The Goonies, then you would know who Data is. Well, at the end of the movie, Data ends up saying that the scariest part of the adventure is when they had met the octopus. However, that couldn't have been right because that scene was taken out of the theatrical release. Yep, they deleted the scene, but forgot about that one line, so a lot of people were confused when he said it. However, the scene did reappear for the Disney Channel version, so someone was able to see this octopus eventually. Do you think the directors were a bit careless when they deleted that scene? Do you know why they deleted it? Now we have trans Tran's shirt in the Fast and the Furious. Do you remember the race with Tran and Jesse? Well, they had made a pretty big mistake there. Even Fast and the Furious had mistakes. Anyways, in one shot, Tran was wearing a shirt with sleeves, but in the next shot, he's in a tank top. I mean, come on guys, you must have seen that change happen. I wonder why they let him change his shirt halfway through a scene anyways. Obviously, someone was going to notice if it wasn't the same outfit when you finished taking the shot. But hey, what do I know? I don't direct movies. What do you think though? Should they not let actors change their outfit in the middle of shooting a scene? Next, the handcuffs in The Lord of the Rings. Even The Lord of the Rings had a mistake. What is with these big franchises and making these mistakes, huh? Well, this can be seen at the very beginning of The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. You can see that Merry and Pippin have been captured by the orcs, which sucked for them obviously. They ended up being restrained because they were captured, you know? Except during a fight scene, Pippin ended up having free hands and nearly got run over by a horse. Then, the restraints ended up showing up again afterwards. Like, come on, that's just crazy. I didn't know Pippin could make his restraints disappear and then reappear. Did you think their directors thought of that at all? Or did they think no one would notice? Well, we noticed, that's for sure. Did you? Now we have the sword Éomer dropped in The Lord of the Rings. If you've only seen this scene one time, then you'll probably be able to easily miss it. However, if you've seen it a few times, then you'll be able to see it a little bit better. Well, Éomer ended up dropping his sword while he was on top of his horse. This was in the scene where Rohirrim met Aragorn. Did you notice that? Again, don't be worried if you didn't, because it's definitely one scene that many people would not have noticed. Lastly, the over by the bed comment from Jack in Titanic. Oh, the Titanic. It always sparks such debates. However, we're not going to be talking about the ending scene because that wasn't a mistake. Instead, we want to point out the painting scene in Titanic. Right after Rose takes off her clothes, Jack ends up telling her to go over by the bed. Pretty normal, right? Well, he ended up correcting himself and said the couch. This was actually a real mistake by Leonardo DiCaprio. However, the filmmakers wanted to keep the scene in because it was funny to them. I'm not surprised because it shows that his character was probably nervous in the scene. What do you think? Was it a good idea to keep it in the movie? Well, that's everything from us today. These have been some pretty interesting mistakes in popular movies and a few TV shows. What did you think of this list? Was there anything that surprised you? Let us know down below.